Hello and welcome to Legacy Curious. I'm your host, David Gravelle. Today, I welcome Dr. Luisa Montoya. Dr. Luisa is a visionary leader and advocate for diversity, equity, and inclusion. She serves as the CEO of Diversity Matters with a distinguished career in the financial industry. Dr. Montoya has established herself as a trailblazer, leveraging her experience to drive meaningful change within corporations and communities. Let's welcome Dr. Luisa. Well, hello, Dr. Luisa. How are you today? Thanks for joining us.
I'm doing great. Thank you so much, David.
Yes, and on our podcast here, we asked our guests to tell their life story and the legacy. And so, that's why I have you here today to start. Eventually, I want to have you come back and share some more information on some of the topics and the services that you provide. But for today, I just wanted to get to know you. And the first question I'll ask is, tell us about your journey here to America. Why and how did you move to the United States?
Well, David, this story is gonna be like a Mexican novela because there's so much to tell, but I'm gonna do the best that I can
Thank
to
you.
give you the short version. Well, so I grew up in Colombia and I lived there for 19 years with my family. I grew up very privileged, to be honest, so there is no like a difficult story or any challenges. I grew up really well.
Yeah.
And sadly, my dad was killed. So my dad was killed and I have to leave the country. And I have to live like this. I was blessed that I had a visa because my parents and I used to come here for vacation to the US. So I had a visa. But unfortunately, because he was killed, I have to come overnight. I didn't have any work visa. I didn't know the language. And after I purchased the ticket, I only had $40 left.
Wow.
And I actually have to sleep in the street in Miami. And that David, that night, and I was only 19 years old. So I can't imagine one of my kids going through that.
Sure.
But I always say that night was so powerful because growing up privileged, you never think that you're going to have a struggle. You don't even know sometimes of the privilege that you have until I moved to this country. And I was sitting in my bag thinking, what am I going to do now? And that night, I learned that whatever I don't do for me, nobody else is going to do it. And I learned the power of resilience because I say, I'm not gonna be part of the statistics of, be here, homeless and the
Sure.
challenges. So I said, I'm gonna do the best that I can. And that is when I decided, okay, well, I'm here in the United States. And what can I do with, my background, what I know? And that's when my journey began in the United States.
Yeah. So tell me about some of the, success stories you've had. It sounds like you had plenty of challenges when you got started out.
Yeah.
Tell us a bit about that journey along the way. Did you go to school here? Were you able to
Yeah, so when
learn?
I was in Miami, so I said, okay, let me go. I actually went to immigration, okay, because now you can look everything on your phone. Back then, you actually have to go.
Right.
So I went to immigration and I told them my case, and they told me to fill out the forms. So I fill out the forms for political asylum. I present all of the information, and 3 months later, I got my political asylum. Within those 3 months, of course, I have the challenge that I need to find jobs and need to find anything that can support me while
Sure.
I get, my political asylum. So I have to work as a waitress. And I have never worked in my life. I grew up going to private school, having a maid. So for someone who grew up like that, it was a very humbling season of my life. Then I got my refugee status, and I got a letter that says that I can apply for scholarships. So I went and applied to every single place that can give me a scholarship, and I got a scholarship in Denver. And at that time, Colorado sounds like a hot place for some reason in Spanish. And I said, oh, perfect, Colombia, Miami, Colorado. Well, I didn't know what was coming. So anyways,
Snow is coming. Yeah. Yeah.
yeah. So I moved to Colorado, and when I was going to college for my scholarship, they had a job fair, and everything was new to me. So I went to the job fair, and there was a bank. And the bank said that they were hiring tellers. And at that time, I said, I cannot continue being a waitress. Nothing wrong with that, but I had really big goals in my life. So I started working as a teller. And I did an amazing career for 23 years in the banking industry. I worked for 6 different bank institutions. I did almost every position, David. When you think of a bank, I did it all. Teller, business banker, commercial banker, branch manager, district manager, corporate responsibility, DEI. So I did it all. And after 23 years, while I was going to school, so I finished my undergrad on business administration. I did my master's degree on clinical psychology, and I got my doctorate on business administration. I really have this passion to help the community. And I say, I'm doing great. I was able to find resources. I put the work, and I feel now I have to put that work back on the community. And that is when I started my own firm, Diversity Matters, where our goal is to really eliminate the equity wealth gap. So we provide resources and programs so we can help business owners, minority business owners, really to catch up on the game. That's how I would say.
Right. Yeah. And I bet you saw that up close in the banking industry, right? Like you must have seen that inequity just play out in the course of finance regularly. Can you speak to
Yeah.
some of that? What was that like to see, people get denied access to money or just not know how to access funds?
Well, I think it's very cultural. Because, for example, in the Latino community, we grew up thinking you should not have debt, right? So don't get a credit card, don't get a line of credit. Well, when you go to the US, especially in the business side, you need to have that credit to be able to get a commercial loan. So one of the challenges, for example, we have clients in the Latino community or in the Black community that they want to grow their business, but they didn't have any credit. And they didn't know that because
Right.
when nobody taught you in your family, when you come from a generation of marginalized communities, underserved communities, you don't know better.
Right.
So they are too late on the game. And that's when I started that passion. I say, we need to take a step back. And as a lender, as a bank, we really have to take our clients by hand and explain them what is business credit, what is important, how can you build credit. And that is when I saw the need. And yes, banks do try to do a great job, but you have so many clients that there is only so much that you can do. I also think the language barrier, especially in the Latin community,
Right.
we need more people who really can understand not only the language, but the culture. So
Right.
that was a part. And that's what we have been doing for the past 3 years to support those underserved communities.
Okay. And so maybe speak a little bit to that. What does that look like? Do you do outreach in the community? What type of events or support services do
Oh
you
my
do?
God, David, we do so much. Like I have so much energy. Like right now, I'm telling myself, Luisa, don't move your hands too much because I have so much energy. Well, we do a lot of work in the community. So we are actually Diversity Matters is the mom of we are 4 different organizations.
Okay.
So one of them is U.S. federal contracting. So what we do is we study the policy on each state, and we look for something that is called set aside. So the government has some contracts and some programs for minorities, the Black community, LGBTQIA community, veterans. So when we find that set aside contracts, what we look for those clients that meet that criteria. We find the RFP, we help them to write it, we create their accounts with their procurement, we even present it. We also help them to get their certification. A lot of minority business owners, they know they're a minority, or sometimes they don't even know. Like I live in Miami and I won't be considered a minority
Right.
because all of us are Colombians,
Right.
but just really educating the clients. The other part is for Diversity Matters. We look for grants. So what grants are there available and how we can help those micro businesses, because some businesses, they do need the extra help. And I have a marketing agency that for some reason I never promoted, but the marketing agency really helped those small businesses so they can meet that criteria for the SBA. And I have the nonprofit, and the nonprofit is where we constantly are looking for programs, how we can support the community. We do outreach events, we do Monday workshops in English and Spanish. So our focus is to how can we educate the community so the community knows what programs are there available for them.
Okay, great. And so tell us a bit about maybe some of the businesses, particularly if I don't know if you can, tell us about maybe a journey that you've taken a young business owner or a small business owner on, and just so we can understand, exactly how you're able to help them beyond just educating them.
So I have this great example. So half of our clients come through social media, which is, we all know the power of social media,
Sure,
but what is
definitely.
fun is that we do amazing on LinkedIn and TikTok, which
Okay.
they are the opposite. I'm like,
Yeah.
they are so different. So anyway, so I have a great example. I put a video on TikTok. I think it's funny because we put like very simple videos or videos with my dog and people love them. And someone contacted me and he is a client from Georgia. And we had a great conversation. We met and he told me, you know what, Luisa, I am a veteran, but I haven't done my certification. So we start working for his certifications. Then I told him, I said, have you tried to do any government contracts, right? And I said, okay, how much is your average contract? And he shared, well, when I go to find a client, some are like 4,000, 6,000. And I say, well, have you ever considered to escalate that? And he said, why not? We start looking for RFPs for him. And he got his first one for 160,000.
Wow.
So if you think about it,
Yeah.
how many clients? He probably have to look for 30 clients, 40
Yeah.
clients to be able to get that contract.
Right. Right.
And he's a veteran. And sometimes as minorities, we don't think, yes, he is a Latino, but he's also a veteran. He has served to the US. He just needs the tools. And even that, if you go to the veterans website, they try to provide those tools. I always say, we need to hold them by hand and
I
show
agree.
them the resources
Yeah.
and how to do it. Because
Yeah.
business owners, David, they are great at doing the labor work. Like they know how to do it. But when it comes to the strategy, when it comes to the paperwork, when it comes to all of that, it's just too much work. And
I agree.
especially,
I'm the same
yeah,
way, Louisa. I need someone to help me, and that's the kind of service that I try and provide too.
yeah,
Is because I feel like there's so much onus on an individual business owner to wear every hat, to do everything, and to have someone that could hold your hand in certain places is just it's remarkable what a difference it makes in the the chance for success if you're able to find that. So help me share with our audience how they get in touch with you. How would they engage your organization? Where would they find you? And we'll put it all in the description as well. But speak to that, the
perfect.
best ways for them, to get your services.
Go to my TikTok. Just kidding. I just can't believe I honestly, David, or maybe it's a generational thing. But when my team told me about TikTok, I was like, no way, we are not doing that. And I just can't believe that actually works. But anyway, they can always go to our website, which is the powerofinclusionmatters.com. But I say follow us on social media. Like go to our LinkedIn,
Okay.
they can put
Yeah.
Diversity Matters. And now like our social media, because we put everything that we are doing. So they can sign up for our workshop, they can go to our events, they can set up a one-on-one. And it's great because you can see what's happening. And I do believe pictures and videos speak highly of our work.
Yeah.
So that's what I say, follow us on our social media. I think our TikTok is very cute and it's funny because you can see me and more than just diversity matters. You can really see where my heart is and the impact that we have on the community. We can see, our partners. We are so blessed, David, that we have amazing partnerships and they have been a big part of our success.
Yeah. Can you speak to some of those? Or is there some you want to mention that?
Yes,
Yeah.
of course, I want to speak of some of those. So we have done a great job with Equality Florida, and I am the proud mom of a transgender boy. And we have done a great partnership. We have done events together. We have a great partnership with the LGBT Chamber of Commerce here in Fort Lauderdale, where
Okay.
we are, working on initiatives and how we can get to the community. We are also partners with the SCORE, where we support business owners and we provide, counseling one-on-one. We provide the workshop trainings. We are partnered with Negoci, and Negoci is a company kind of like a LinkedIn, but in Spanish. And
Okay.
we provide workshops. And recently we started a partnership with Panorama, which is a giant conference where the focus is for janitorial services. So we invite people in the community, small businesses in the janitorial industry, and we provide the resources for them to grow.
Great. Great. Okay. So we'll have all those links in our description. And so now I want to get to the $1 million question around here on my podcast is what kind of legacy do you want to leave behind, Luisa? What is it that you want to be remembered for, and what you hope to the change and the impact you hope to make?
The impact that I want to make is really eliminate the equity wealth gap. I'm always asking for a piece of the cake. And I think as minorities, we got tired of asking for a chair on the table. So we are building our own table. And that's how I want people to remember me.
Yeah, great. Well, thank you so much for sharing today. We're going to invite you back, like I said, to speak to some future topics. Great work that you're doing. It sounds like you've got so many, ways to help people and your commitment to the community. I want to thank you on behalf of my audience for doing that, and to let people know that, again, reach out, get involved, and we'll look forward to seeing you soon.
Perfect. Thank you, David. Have a great day.
Okay, bye-bye. Well, thanks for joining us today as we learned about the life legacy of Dr. Luisa Montoya and her work with Diversity Matters. Once again, visit her website at thepowerofinclusionmatters.com. Check out our description for more ways to get in touch. This has been Legacy Curious, a podcast of life stories and legacy planning. And I'm your host, David Gravelle. See you next time.